When people talk about the growing trend of Gen Alpha kids and their humor only being brain rot or the same few phrases, it's indicative of a scary trend that social media and society is heading towards: dehumanization, consumerism, and an empathy shortage. If you've been on TikTok since 2019 or 2020, you may recall how a lot of the videos were notably longer and more unique from one another. Looking at the old TikTok videos I have saved on my phone, I think to myself, this would never have been viable on modern TikTok. Nobody's attention spans would be kept. There needs to be something said about how we have all this content accessible at our fingertips and can just mindlessly scroll through different videos, whatever suits our interests, whatever captures our attention the most. Other social media companies recognize the success of TikTok and now attempt to emulate it. Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, and even Twitter, having made it so that every time you watch a video, it automatically plays a random video that wasn't even the next post in your timeline. It only contributes to the inauthenticity of the nature wherein TikTok became so big. I believe TikTok's success started where it wasn't as commercialized in the start. It wasn't as dominated by corporations using it as a marketing tool. It primarily attracted teenagers and young adults in the midst of shaping their identities. Instagram Reels, as compared to TikTok, feeds off the amount of commercials and advertisements and relies purely on watch time tactics, such as read caption below. People always say, oh, post this on Instagram Reels, as a way to say that this is cringe and that you'd get hate for this if it were the real world, or anywhere else besides TikTok. And I think that's incredibly significant to how TikTok operates better in its algorithm to suggest content that resonates with people, as opposed to Instagram, which is based on whoever can fund their advertising the most. Now, all of this is to say that with this emerging culture of trying to consume short content to pump out content quick, watch it quick, skip it quick, interact with it or not interact with it quick, and barely giving videos even half a second of watch time feeds into this hyper-emergence of superficiality. TikTok is continuing to move even further towards commercialization. People are no longer viewing the creators on their For You page as people, but more so products to be consumed. The growing trend of dehumanization is synonymous to how TikToks are progressively getting shorter and shorter to keep your attention span. Remember in my last video when I said another conversation needs to be had about these fast-paced trends? Popular phrasing and terms and trends have been along for as long as we can remember, but it's even more prevalent now. Being chronically online appears to have its own rankings now, to rack up the most knowledge on niche references that don't stick around for long, to be able to understand the trends people are constantly commenting on any video in order to get a quick like or validation from other people.
I think it looks much cooler on me.
I think it looks much cooler on me.
These monolithic comments detract from originality and creativity, transforming TikTok commenting to be more like its neighbor, Instagram Reels. So at this point, you don't even have to say, oh, I dare you to post this on Instagram Reels. People on TikTok are becoming just as brutal, negative, and blunt with their commenting. Cringe culture has returned at an all-time high. And this coincides with a growing alt-right pipeline and a prevalence of right-wing media shift flooding the internet. Because when everyone is just trying to get instant gratification, scrolling on their phones, trying to see whatever grabs their attention the most, it's going to be the most controversial things, and that's what will remain in their minds. Hate resonates with something people feel and radicalizes them into certain ideologies and pushes them further into this pipeline, especially because their watch time on these videos reinforces the algorithm's need to push this content to them. Gen Alpha kids are being raised to only receive the quickest attention-grabbing media that comes to them, rather than learning how to critically think, analyze, and make their own nuanced, well-informed opinions on what they're consuming. When controversy dominates the internet, these youth will impressionably accept that this is how life is intended to be. But that's not to say that all kids are going to become unable to inform themselves. It's just that media will become the prevalent culture in younger generations. And a lot of these commenters are younger folk, because as you get older, you have less and less time for TikTok. The app's targeted demographics tend to be between 10 and 20 years old. And these youth will adopt a lack of humanity they see in the people in the content they're consuming. It becomes normal to accept this culture as their reality. Alongside this idea that if you're saying something positive about someone, it's glazing them. Which is so similar to how in 2020 people were saying that if you were complimenting a woman, you were simping for them. Trends are recycled, and we are witnessing the pushback and retaliation to left-wing ideologies subsequent to quarantine. When you hide behind a screen, you don't see the reaction of the person reading it. You don't face consequences for your actions. And when people realize that they don't have to face consequences for their actions, they're a lot less likely to care about the actions that they're making. In the same way that driving tends to bring out the ego, anger, and selfishness within people, through the nature of being unlikely to see these people again, or for them to have an impact on our lives, short consumption content harbors a culture of insensitivity and dehumanization. I am reminded of reading about an occasion where a religious person asked an atheist, "If you don't believe in God, why are you so kind?" Why do people choose to be kind? Is it because they're ultimately trying to be free of sin to get into a good afterlife? Is kindness inherent to humankind? Do people truly believe in kindness as a value? If people didn't have to be nice to get ahead in life, would they be?
Sorry, have I injured you?
What do you do here?
I just like to throw rocks and stuff.
You just find a random rock. Oh yes. Thank you. Do you wish stuff? Okay.
Big rock!
Wow. Oh.
I don't want to hit anyone.
No. Wow.
Are you making a video?
Yeah, I'm just getting some footage. Oh wow, that's a big rock. Huh. Nice. I got that one didn't make it at all. Wow, it's like shiny.
Thank you.
Have a nice day. Bye bye.
I love your hair color.
Oh, thank you. I missed. It's okay. The content we are consuming is becoming shorter and shorter, less personalized, less humane, less creative, less nuanced. And ultimately, what people are consuming becomes their thoughts. Thoughts become actions. Actions determine the conventional standards of society as a whole. Comments that are like, I'm employed, what does this mean? Shame people. Shame tries to capitalize off of the perceived differences between people. Instead, people are turned into categories that should be avoided because they make you impure. They make you something fundamentally worse through association. But we are all subject to the same social media pressures and its prevalence in our lives. Yet, we're pitting ourselves against each other when really we're all partaking in and perpetuating the same system of short consumption content. Non-consequential actions on social media bleed into real-life interactions. Shame culture leaks out from original intentions. It causes people to feel shame about opening up or being vulnerable in their identity because of the fear of someone rejecting it. Not demonstrating any empathy feeds into the loop of convincing other people that vulnerability is a bad thing, that your struggles are allowed to be dismissed, that they are allowed to be swept under the rug. It's really similar to the pipeline of toxic masculinity, where people adopt the belief that showing any emotion is inherently bad, that it's wrong. And that leads to a phenomenon wherein men are only nice to women that they find attractive. But you still need to be kind to people offering you services, and not offering you anything. You can take small steps on your own behalf to avoid putting even more on another's shoulders, such as throwing away your own trash instead of thinking it's okay to litter because it's the janitor's job to clean it up. And it costs nothing to be kind to anyone who you pass by. If we don't try to offer decency to even those who technically owe us nothing, what makes us human? What makes us good? Leftism bases itself in empathy for others and in rejecting the systems that put the barriers on us realizing our self-determination. So why are leftists at each other's necks for the most minute mistakes, calling each other out and feeding into shame culture when we can simply call in? It's one thing to be self-critical to encourage further growth and nuanced thinking, but it is another to be contributing to the empathy shortage within our only remaining safe spaces. So, where can we find the spaces we need so we can find solace from this negativity trend surrounding us? I tried to start making content on TikTok, but I found myself changing what I actually wanted to post based on it, shortening attention spans and what was currently in. It doesn't matter what cumulative thousands of views I may get on TikTok, it's all short-lived and doesn't stick with people. Just meaningless content being added into the algorithm. A view on YouTube is worth miles more than a view on TikTok. You had to choose to click on this video. The beauty about YouTube is its longevity. Videos continue to be recommended timelessly years later. No matter how much it tries to adopt short consumption content, which may appeal to some, its core audience always receives the journey of the stories told through a video. What I found that I care about has been the outreach and resonance to people, those in similar stages of life to me, and even those in different ones, to see that I can keep creating in a manner expressive to myself while reaching other people, because I am using my craft as a medium for human connection, for vulnerability, for building that genuine community, and that takes time. If you don't know me yet, I'm June. I'm a high school senior that analyzes things in the world. I like to convey my message through accessible content that resonates with people. I do this through Minecraft, a medium that people are familiar with, to try and curate a safe third space that we lack in our present-day world. If you want to stick around as I curate this place, please subscribe. I also have a Discord linked in the description if you'd like to connect with other people in the same space. For a quick answer to the empathy shortage, we simply have to just start within ourselves. We can integrate kindness into our lives one step at a time. holding the door open, smiling at a passerby, moving a snail over out from in front of your car. In the long term, we hold our responsibility to the communities around us to do what we can to push back against negativity and fight the good fight, to create better lives for ourselves, those before us, and especially those after us, who are presently only being taught hate. Let's create our own meaning for our lives. Comment a kind thing to someone today. I hope to see you around as we build a gentle space where we celebrate each other.
Why do you choose to be kind?
When you be kind, you can make a difference to yourself and others. But if you choose to be mean, it make other people feel like not really inspire them. So why not? Be kind, it be special.
Why do you choose to be kind?
I choose to be kind because it's a better way to spend my energy. It's a better way for me to spend my energy since I could be doing literally anything else. The same energy you use to hate on someone is the same energy you can use to help another person. So I saw a lot of things like discrimination. I was bullied for the majority of my life. Knowing how that feels and knowing how bullying encourages me to become a better version of that, become a light in a world that doesn't know anything else. The people that I surround myself with, I enjoy seeing the smile on others' faces, and it's a rule that I live by to lift others up.
Why do you choose to be kind?
I want to be respected by others, and I also, you know how there's that saying in elementary school, treat others how you want to be treated? That always stuck with me. As corny as that sounds, I feel like I always treat others the way I want to be treated. Just peace, love, and respect.
Why do you choose to be kind?
I think choosing to be kind, once you experience what it's like for people to not be kind to you, it takes a lot for you to be gentle in order to overcome that and actually, not retaliate and learn how to be kind. I think being polite and being kind are very different. It's very easy to be polite, but being kind, you have that sincerity. And it's a quality that's very difficult to it, so I think that it's a good thing to practice. Mindfulness.
Why do you choose to be kind?
I was actually bullied. I was discriminated and non-binary. And then because of that, I learned, if I have that judgment and I know how it feels, no one else deserves that judgment. I just think it's really a waste of time to judge someone. You could be studying or something. Go study. You could be passing your medical exams, but why are you bullying people? I just think it's a waste of time, and it's really unnecessary because, for example, for body shaming, our bodies are just used for learning about our day, what's wrong with it to be able to small. It's a waste of time. It is unnecessary, and it hurts people. Yeah.
Why do you choose to be kind?
Why do you choose to be kind?
Wait, you dropped such okay.
You could be doing something else, writing.
Are you filming?
Yeah? Why do you? I will get you a door.
Doing
It's okay. It's okay. Why do you choose to be kind? Why do you choose to be? Oh my god, I fell.
Freaking red.